I think this is one of the most prevalent reasons that a woman likes getting a divorce and why they feel so much better afterward in these particular instances. But before I delve into that, I wanted to have this fine fellow, Dr. Orion Taraban, speak on the pros and cons of marriage here right quick to set the tone.
In a world full of loonies and fools, there remains but one voice of reason. Ghostbusters past, handsome, bold, and refined.
What are the pros and cons of getting married for both men and women?
Sure, yeah, marriage still is a goal for many people. Personally, I don't see that there are many pros from a man's perspective. I don't think that there's anything in the marriage contract that gives me a benefit or a privilege that I don't already have as a single man. And it comes with a host of responsibility and risk. So I think there's very little upside and quite a significant downside to getting legally married as a man.
Well, how about
On some level, getting married could very well be the best thing that a woman can do.
2 strikes for
as far as I can
misogyny.
tell,
And an ad thrown in there. That's 3 strikes.
getting married is the only way that a woman can get divorced. And that could definitely be made an argument for the best thing that can happen to a woman. Because she could potentially get children, she could potentially get the wedding, she could potentially have a long-term committed relationship, and then pull a golden parachute and exit with cash and prizes to live the next half of her life having checked off certain things on her to-do list on some level. Now, what happens to the man after he's been cut in half?
Cut in half.
Who knows?
Cut in half. I like to use little dramatic terms on it. So that gets me into the point here that supposedly women have a better stats going into it if they are removed from it. That's the classic quote the manosphere likes to put out there now, saying, never sign a contract that rewards the other party for breaking it. So we move a little past that now. Let's say they are divorced, and you find many studies, perhaps a little bit biased because they are self-reported, and it's not like women would make up things to seem better than they currently are. Now, however, the studies find that women often are happier after divorce for a period of years afterward. The freedom that comes along with it, the emotional freedom, all other than financial, because they are usually worse off, and some will have a somewhat high poverty rate after that. But the question becomes here, the one prevalent thing that I have only seen spoken of relatively often when brought up, but it is never spoken of on these actual videos here, where the women are mentioning how much better their life is. And I think that is simply because it doesn't sound good. It doesn't read good. They'll do it anonymously. But how many women will do it publicly? That is a question that I ponder. And it comes down to the freeing up of time. They put out a stat like women's weekly workload, whether they are actually employed or not, could be unpaid labor at the house, chores, and that sort of thing, goes down by a good number of hours after they are divorced. And you might ask yourself, why would that be the case? Why would it go down if they are now a single mom? The husband has moved out, but a lot of times they are not a huge mess making themselves. I mean, there would be some, of course, but he's also assistant. No, he's not. He never did anything. Yes. Calm down, Betsy. Calm it down now. Though they get removed, now, single mom. This is the point. They don't speak of why do they have less labor. They don't put this in the stats. They just throw it out there. Less labor, more free time, more freedom to explore their interests and personal goals. Now, why is that the case, though? It's simply because of split custody. Now, women often receive the alimony and the child support, so they get funded. Normally, when you send your lovely little brats off to daycare, you pay for that privilege. It is a paid service. You are paying big bucks, and people who work and have children know that it is a substantial amount of funding that goes into that expense of having the children at daycare. So women, they get divorced, and they want more custody because they get some more money, of course, for the percentage base of the time they have. But they still get old daddy. He's not good enough to look after them. Some of the time he is, though. And that's when the freedom comes in. They send him off to daddy daycare. And instead of paying that, they receive money for it. The women, that is. They receive a good deal of money for sending them to daycare. That's where the freedom comes in. And they talk about, on these forums, the women are so much happier. They get the free weekends now when they go over to dad's. So they plan kind of the boss bee style, the independent woman time. And I've actually known quite a few of them who relish this absence of children, which they would most, in all cases, rarely ever get because they move away from their families. They don't have the village around to look after children. So if they stay married, these kind of breaks would never happen. They would not have kid-free weekends that often, that routinely, and that scheduled. So they go off to daddy daycare, and the mom gets to live her best life. A lot of times going out and doing some party time, going out having fun. That when they go on back on the carousel, if you listen to the Manosphere, the Red Pill, the strong, independent boss babe types would call it living their best life. But it gives mothers that freedom to go on out there while being paid for it, because daddy daycare isn't just looking after. No, he is paying for the privilege. So it's not talked about publicly for the women because it makes them look like bad mothers, that they don't really care, that they trade this boss bee freedom time, and they can hide behind the guise of, I didn't want to, but the government made me, the courts made me. But secretly, they love it. They love having this kid-free time, but they don't want to admit to it. And that, I think, is one of the biggest factors for them relinquishing any sort of custody at all to the fathers. They have time as a single mother and think, dear God, this is a little more difficult. I used to have old dumb Jeffrey over there looking after the kids when I went to the store, hung out with my friends and drinking nights and whatever else. Now I gotta figure out a babysitter. Oh, but wait a minute. Look at my calendar here. Daddy daycare is coming up around the corner. Oh, Rhonda, Giselle, we're going out this weekend. They got to go have fun with it. And I think that is a very prominent reason that the women experience that relief. So they're not wanting to be the devoted mothers. They want to keep that image. But the biggest factor is that freedom. It's the selfish pull, selfish desires that bring them out. And they get to maintain a story of deniability, plausible deniability, by putting them over at daddy daycare. Oh, they're with their dad. Oh, yeah. And probably some negative story along with it to tell others. But they get the freedom to go out and have the hangouts. Something to consider, ladies. And I don't know how many of you would admit it. And is there really an issue with you admitting it? But it's very common. Anyway, that's enough ranting for today, as you can see. Over there, I should say, point this way, that way. Subscribe for more insightful, damn fly around here. More insightful commentary, as always. And yet again, boys and gals, until next time, Ghostbusters. Gonna take a little break here. Oh, ding.